So one of the best ways to reach out to people in your community is with some type of church event. So we do these all the time, but what is the best way to actually promote a church event and get the word out to your community? So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And I'll even show you the exact steps that I used in order to promote one of our men's events when we would normally have about 50 to 100 men. And we actually used this framework to get over 1,200. So let's dive into how to advertise a new church event coming up. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Chris Abbott, but all my friends just call me Abbo. And in this channel, we're constantly talking about social media, church growth, digital ministry, and how to be more effective at reaching the next generation for Jesus. So what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of break down some of the best practices that I've used over the years in order to advertise some of our church events and some events for some of my friends' churches. So let's dive in. All right, so a few years ago, my pastor came to me and said, hey, we are bringing in a Navy SEAL and I need to have 1,000 men in the room, right? Which that sounds like crazy anyway, but when you factor in that our men's meetings were typically having about 50 to 100 guys that are showing up, that sounded like an impossible task. A 10 to 20x return because we were having a Navy SEAL come in. So what I did was I actually sat down, thought about this, came up with a plan, and we ended up having over 1,250 men who showed up to that event. So what I'm gonna do is kind of walk you through the exact steps that I took so that you can do the exact same thing at your church. All right, so the first thing that you wanna do is what my pastor already did for me, and that is create a target. So once you've identified what type of church event you're gonna be having, the next thing to do is to create a target, right? So for us, it was 1,000 men in the room, right? You need to figure out what exactly is the target that we're going to be aiming for. If you don't have a target, right, you have nothing to aim at. So you want to figure out exactly what your goal is going to be. And then next up, you want to figure out what action do you want them to take. Now, that action might be that you want them to buy a ticket. It might be that you want them to save their seat or register for the free conference. It might be plan your visit, right? But once you've identified a target, the next thing you need to do is figure out what action you want them to take. And this is really important because you don't want to just send a bunch of people to your website hoping that they'll remember to show up, right? You want to have them take some type of a next step, right? Plan your visit, download a ticket, purchase a ticket, register your seat, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you have some type of specific actionable next step. Once you've done that, it's time to build a dedicated landing page specifically for your event. And the reason we want to do this is because if people go to your website and they're looking for more information on your event, you don't want them to have to search. You don't want them to have to scroll all through your homepage or maybe click on your event pages and kind of go through your website, right? We want to be able to send them to one place that only talks about one thing, and that is our event, right? So you want to make sure that you have like the date and the times up towards the top. And you want to make sure that you have lots of pictures of smiling, happy people. And you want to make sure that you have a way for people to take that next step that you already decided on. So let's say you want people to register for a free marriage conference. You're going to create a landing page that's going to talk about that marriage conference. And you want to focus on the benefits for everyone else, right? So in sales and marketing, they always talk about features versus benefits. So if you're selling a car, you know, some of the features might be that it has 300 horsepower, power locks, power doors, power windows, leather interior, a Bose stereo system, right? Those are all features, but features don't sell anybody. Features don't get people excited. What gets people excited are the benefits, right? So a benefit might be, hey, can you imagine what your friends are going to think when you roll up in this car right here? Man, with that Bose stereo bumping, 300 horsepower, you're just blasting through the city, windows down, radio up. Man, can you imagine how your friend's gonna look when you show up to work in this on Monday? You might say like, hey, can you imagine like, man, this thing is a tank, right? So those are the features versus the benefits. Now, in the church world, when you're creating a landing page for an event, the features are about you, but benefits are about them, right? So don't talk about your church and all the different things that you're doing. What you wanna do is talk about them. So like for the Navy SEAL men's event, we talked about like, hey, have you ever wondered what it's like to be a Navy SEAL? Have you ever wondered what it's actually like to drop in behind enemy lines and to run missions that nobody else in the world knows about? So join us on November 19th for the Tulsa Navy SEAL men's event as we bring in ex-Navy SEAL Jeff Bromstead to talk about his career in the Navy SEALs, the leadership principles he learned in the Navy that now apply today, and how being a man of God is just like being a Navy SEAL. We'll see you November 19th at 6 p.m. Something like that is communicating the benefits to them instead of just the features. You're not just talking about the event itself and all the different things. things, you want to specifically talk about the benefits to the people that are going to show up, the questions you're going to answer, the things they can get out of it, what they can expect. Step number 4 is run a Facebook ad. Now, this is not a boosted post. A Facebook ad is when you actually go to facebook.com/ads manager and you create a targeted Facebook ad. I ran mine on both Facebook and Instagram. I'm a huge fan of doing that because you're going to reach 2 different target demographics on both platforms. And depending on what type of event that you're running, you may or may not want to exclude certain audiences. So for example, if I was running an ad for a women's event, I'm going to exclude men because men don't care about a women's event. They're not going to show up and they're probably not going to talk about it. So I would exclude them and I would only focus on women ages 18 to 65 plus who live within driving distance of the church. But a little caveat is when I ran for the Navy SEAL men's event and I was trying to target men, I did include women. And here's why. I know that women talk, right? So I know that there are going to be wives and girlfriends out there who are going to see that and go, oh my gosh, babe, did you see that there's a Navy SEAL coming to Guts Church on Sunday, right? And I knew that they were going to talk about it. And that's exactly what happened. There were a ton of women who were commenting on the Facebook ads and who were sharing it and they were tagging their husbands and their friends, right? So depending on what type of event you're doing, you may want to exclude some different audiences. But again, if you're targeting men, you want to include women. If you're targeting women, you should not include men. All right, so before I get to my last couple of points, man, would you share this video? I know there are a lot of pastors and church leaders out there who are trying to figure out how to get the word out about their church events, especially post-pandemic as we're trying to get people back into our churches. And so hopefully this video can help you and can help someone that you know and love. So maybe take just a second to text this video to someone you care about. All right, number 5 is connect cards, right? You might call these connect cards or contact cards or something else, but whatever it is, if you're having an event and you're bringing in a bunch of people, one of the things that's easy to overlook is collecting people's personal information. Right? So what a bummer that would have been if we had 1,250 dudes who came out to the Tulsa Navy SEAL men's event, but we didn't have a way to follow up with them afterwards. So having a plan for that and having some type of connect card or contact card is a great way to be able to collect information so that you can follow up with people for the next couple of weeks afterwards to try to get them back in the door. So number 6, while you have everyone in the room at your event, I would encourage you to invite people to take a next step, right? So that next step could be coming to church on Sunday. It could be joining a small group or a volunteer team, right? Or maybe coming back for a sermon series that you're getting ready to start, right? Whatever it is, whatever makes sense to your event, but you always want to have a next step in there and you can only have one, right? If you say more than one thing, you say nothing at all. So make sure to identify what is the one next step that you want every single person in the room to take, and then make sure to mention that multiple times throughout your event. All right, and finally, step number 7, follow up, follow up, follow up. You took the time to put on a phenomenal event. You probably put some money into Facebook and Instagram ads and you promoted this throughout the community and hopefully you had a ton of people show up, right? You thought ahead, so you had contact cards and connect cards. You collected everyone's information. Now you need to actually plug them into some type of automated follow-up system. It's not good enough to try to just do everything manually because especially if this was a successful event, you're gonna have a lot of people that came in and hopefully a bunch of connect cards to follow up with. And trying to remember exactly where you're at in the process with each person is pretty much impossible. So using something like Text in Church is one of my favorite ways to do it. Text in Church actually has a 6-week follow-up system already built out. So when you first sign in, you can literally just fill out a couple of questions and then automatically customize that for your church. And then literally all you have to do is take those connect cards from your events and from your Sunday morning services and literally just plug them into Text in Church on Monday morning. It takes just a few minutes and it'll automatically kick off an automated 6-week follow-up system. So if you guys want to check that out, we actually have a link in the description below. I don't work for Text in Church. I just love their technology. I've used it at my church for years. So you can actually get 3 months free of Text in Church. Just click on the link in the description below and you can try it out for free. Okay, so if you like this video and you found it valuable and you'd like to learn more about social media and some different frameworks on how to grow your church, man, these are the types of things that we're teaching and talking about all the time in the Church Marketers Facebook group. So I'm an admin in there with Ryan Wakefield and a bunch of other really incredible church leaders and pastors. I recommend jumping into that Facebook group. We've actually got a link to that down in the description and you can jump in there, or you can just go to Facebook and type in Church Marketers and jump into the group that way. We've also got a really cool surprise when you first sign up. So we'll see you in the Facebook group.